He was one of the biggest TV stars of the 1970s, appearing in millions of homes every single week. But at the peak of his fame, Demond Wilson did something that shocked Hollywood. He walked away from it all. Now, at age 79, he's passed away, and his incredible journey from stardom to spirituality is a story you need to hear. What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're talking about a legend who just left us, Demond Wilson. If you don't recognize the name immediately, you definitely know his face. He was Lamont Sanford, the straight man to one of the funniest characters in TV history. But here's the thing most people don't know. Wilson walked away from fame at the height of his career, and what he did next will surprise you. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss any of our deep dives into entertainment history. And drop a comment below telling me your favorite Sanford and Son moment. Now, let's get into it. Just this morning, January 31st, 2026, the world learned that Demond Wilson passed away at his home in Palm Springs, California. He was 79 years old. According to his son, Demond Wilson Jr., he died from complications related to cancer. His son shared a touching tribute. "I loved him. He was a great man." That simple statement says everything. No Hollywood drama, just a son mourning his father. Let me take you back to 1972. Then came Sanford and Son, an American adaptation of a British sitcom. The show centered on Fred Sanford, a cantankerous junk dealer in Los Angeles, played by Red Fox, and his son Lamont. That's where Demond Wilson came in. Wilson was just 26 years old when he landed the role that would define his career. He's going toe-to-toe with Red Fox, one of the most experienced comedians in the business. But Wilson held his own. The chemistry between Fox and Wilson was electric. Fred Sanford would constantly scheme and manipulate, faking heart attacks with his signature, "I'm coming to join you, Elizabeth," while Lamont played the exasperated but loving son trying to keep the family business afloat. Sanford and Son wasn't just popular, it was a cultural phenomenon. At its peak, it was the second highest rated show on television. We're talking 30 to 40 million people tuning in every week. For 5 years, from 1972 to 1977, Wilson was in American living rooms, becoming part of the family. After Sanford and Son ended in 1977, Wilson didn't fade away. He immediately jumped into another sitcom called Baby. I'm Back. The show only lasted one season, but Wilson kept working. In the early 80s, he starred in The New Odd Couple, a reboot with a predominantly black cast. He even transitioned to film, starring in the 1993 movie Me and the Kid. Wilson was proving he wasn't just Lamont Sanford, he was a versatile actor. Here's the part most people don't know. Sometime in the late 70s and early 80s, Demond Wilson underwent a profound spiritual transformation. He became an ordained minister and devoted much of his life to religious work. Wilson didn't just pay lip service to faith, he lived it. He wrote several books about spirituality and Christianity. He spoke openly about how Hollywood had nearly destroyed him, how the fame and lifestyle were pulling him away from what truly mattered. Wilson talked about feeling empty despite all the success. He had missed from acting. 2 decades away from the camera. Most actors would be terrified of being forgotten, but Wilson didn't seem to care. Then, in 2023, he made a return in a drama called Eleanor's Bench. It would be his final role. After all those years away, he came back to do something that clearly meant something to him. So what's Demond Wilson's legacy? Yes, he'll forever be remembered as Lamont Sanford, the long-suffering son who put up with his father's antics week after week. Those reruns still play today, introducing new generations to the show. But his real legacy might be something deeper. Wilson showed us that there's life after fame, that you can be successful in Hollywood, and still maintain your values. He proved that walking away from the spotlight doesn't mean failure. Sometimes it means finding what really matters. In an industry known for excess and ego, Wilson chose humility and faith. In a culture obsessed with staying relevant, he chose to step back and live authentically. That takes courage. Demond Wilson passed away at 79, but he lived a full life, one that went far beyond the character that made him famous. He was an actor, a minister, an author, a father, and by all accounts, a good man. The entertainment world has lost a legend, but his work will continue to bring joy to people for generations to come. If you've never watched Sanford and Son, do yourself a favor and check it out. You'll see why Wilson and Fox created something truly special. Rest in peace, Demond Wilson. Thanks for the laughs, the lessons, and the legacy. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who might appreciate learning about Demond Wilson's incredible life. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Drop your favorite Sanford and Son memory in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, take care of yourselves, and remember, it's okay to walk your own path, even if it leads away from the spotlight. Peace.
Reporting live from Ivers Club in Atlanta, Fright Plus News, I'm John Abba. It is with our deepest condolences that we have to report that Grady Demond Wilson of Sanford and Son fame and of the golden era of Hollywood has passed away at the age of 79. Wilson, who was a veteran of the Vietnam War in the mid-1960s and would become a decorated soldier, leaves behind 6 children and a wife of over 50 years. TMZ would break the news Saturday morning. Wilson's son, Demond Wilson Jr., tells TMZ he was pronounced dead Friday morning at his home in Palm Springs, California. He passed away from complications related to cancer. As mentioned before, his life in Hollywood, Wilson was a Vietnam soldier who would find himself on TV of millions after starring in Sanford and Son for 6 seasons. Wilson would continue his acting when the series did come to an end, to later find himself behind the pulpit as an ordained minister. His last known credit, according to IMDb, would be in 2023's Eleanor's Bench. As many should know, in recent years, I myself had the honor of getting to know Mr. Wilson, both on camera and some may not have known, even off camera after he was a guest on Hype Plus several times. His no-nonsense style was both refreshing and one I appreciated, despite how embarrassing some of our conversations would leave me, as I appeared childish compared to a man who overcame a lot. In conclusion, the men in dresses thing, do you know the origin of that? Did you ever get approached at it?
So to take your manhood from you.
Approached back in the day?
Yeah, how long we been talking?
We've been talking for probably maybe close to 35, 40 minutes.
Do I seem like type of Negro that you could come to with some bull manure like that?
Terry Crews got approached.
Who?
Terry Crews got approached. He got groped by...
Terry Crews is in a different era, brother. I'm from the golden era of Hollywood, the first 50 years of the motion picture television industry. Is what I'm from. I'm a sojourner. I wasn't supposed to live this long, I guess. My show wasn't supposed to still be relevant this long, I guess. Kids 12 and 13 years old weren't supposed to recognize me walking down the street, I guess.
Right. I only ask that because I've seen multiple people, even on our platform.
Where was Terry Crews when that? Wait a minute. Let me set you straight, young brother. 35. Where was Terry Crews when that happened? At one of their parties.
Yes.
I didn't go to one of their parties. I didn't go to none of their parties. They would nominate me for whatever. I never went. I didn't partake in that nonsense. I told my wife when we first met, if people see me on the street and say, Demond Wilson, I hate your black ass. Okay. Demond Wilson, I love your black ass. Okay. All I want from my career, Cicely's my wife's name, is for my work to speak for me. Apparently it still is, isn't it?
That's a fact. Behind the scenes, he stayed who he gave the cameras. a man from a previous era who lived and gained the wisdom that this generation needed. His frustration with today's men and women was consistent. He saw a better version for us than the current state of some black men and black women not being married and operating as a whole. I would share with him about my newest chapter of being a father of two, and before I would propose to my now fiancée, you could feel the side eye of me not having been married before our children. But I understood the perspective. Back in November 2025, I would check on Damon after some time just to see how he was doing, and the man who spoke with fire appeared to be a bit more at ease. Wilson would disclose with me that he had a health scare, but never shared what it was. And I, out of respect, did not share what it was he was experiencing, but could tell it was serious, despite me and him not making it the focus of our conversations. Wilson's passing not only is something I'm still processing, but highlights concerns about the industry who has used black talent to help build it up, but when it's time to give back, when they have retired from working, they're often forgotten. Both Damon Wilson and his co-star, the legendary Red Fox, do not have stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Now, getting to know Damon, he was still proud that viewers enjoyed his work today, despite not having the many accolades that many others may have that were his counterparts. I feel truly honored to have had the many conversations I will with Damon, and hope he knew how I appreciate the opportunity to get to know one of the few left from a time in Hollywood that is no more, especially with him being an older black man and me losing my grandfather many years ago. Damon Wilson, you are a great man, and as more will get to know your story, I imagine that it will be an example of what living with honor, fearlessness, and love is all about. And for the record, the world should know that in real life, Damon Wilson was no dummy. Rest well, sir. For Hype Plus News, I'm John Appa.
Tell us what it's like being in a marriage, a Hollywood marriage for 21 years and being successful.
We don't know. I kept my separation a big secret from my family, from my mom, from everybody. Only 2 people knew.
I'm really worried because Dwayne and Tisha have like a real violent relationship.
And Dwayne's hi, honey.
Hey, y'all about to get her beat.
A beloved television icon and a powerful voice of faith has passed away. Grady Demond Wilson, the legendary actor best known for portraying Lamont Sanford on the classic sitcom Sanford and Son, has sadly died at the age of 79. His passing was confirmed on January 30th, 2026, at his home in Palm Springs, California. The world remembers Grady Wilson as the loyal son on one of the most influential sitcoms in television history. But behind the scenes, he was also a soldier, a survivor, an author, a minister, and a man who dedicated the second half of his life to spiritual truth and service. His death marks the end of a remarkable journey that spanned Broadway stages, Hollywood sets, battlefields, pulpits, and bookshelves. Biography. Grady DeMond Wilson was born on the 13th of October, 1946, in Valdosta, Georgia. He later grew up in New York City, where his extraordinary talent in dance and performance became clear at a very young age. By the age of 4, he had already made his Broadway debut. At just 12 years old, he was dancing at Harlem's legendary Apollo Theater, sharing stages that had once hosted some of the greatest performers in American history. Wilson was raised Catholic and served as an altar boy, while also spending summers with his Pentecostal grandmother, Ada Mitchell. From childhood, his life was shaped by faith, discipline, and artistic expression. At 13, a ruptured appendix nearly took his life. That moment became a spiritual turning point, leading him to vow that if he survived, he would dedicate his adult life to serving God in some meaningful way. Military service and early career. Before Hollywood fame, Wilson served his country. He joined the United States Army and served from 1966 to 1968, stationed with the 4th Infantry Division during the Vietnam War. He was wounded in combat, an experience that deeply affected him and added a layer of gravity to his life beyond entertainment. After returning home, Wilson resumed his acting career, performing in Broadway and off-Broadway productions before transitioning to film and television. He appeared in major shows such as Mission, Impossible, and All in the Family, and acted in films including The Organization and Dealing, or The Berkeley, to Boston 40, Brick Lost, Bag Blues. These early roles paved the way for the part that would define his legacy forever. Sanford and Son era. In late 1971, Grady Wilson was cast as Lamont Sanford on the NBC sitcom Sanford and Son, opposite comedy legend Red Fox. Originally, another actor had been considered, but due to scheduling conflicts, Wilson was chosen instead, a decision that changed television history. As Lamont, Wilson became the emotional anchor of the show, balancing Fox's explosive comedy with heart, intelligence, and realism. Their father-son chemistry became one of the most iconic pairings in sitcom history. When Red Fox temporarily left the show in 1974 due to contract disputes, Wilson carried the series as its central star for an entire season. Although Fox later returned, their relationship behind the scenes was complex. Wilson later revealed that he felt hurt by Fox's sudden departure, learning about it through a hallway announcement rather than directly from his co-star. Yet despite everything, Wilson always maintained deep respect and love for Fox, calling their bond genuine and irreplaceable. Other acting roles. After Sanford and Son, Wilson starred in the CBS sitcom Baby, I'm Back, and later portrayed Oscar Madison in The New Odd Couple, a modern black adaptation of the classic series. He also appeared in films such as Full Moon High, Me and the Kid, Hemlock. Later in his career, he guest starred on Girlfriends, played in touring stage productions, and remained active in faith-based film and theatre projects well into his 60s. Author and minister. In 1984, Wilson was ordained as a minister in the Church of God in Christ. From that point forward, his life took a dramatic spiritual turn. He became a Christian evangelist, speaking publicly about faith, morality, and what he viewed as the dangers of the New Age movement. He authored several religious books, including New Age Millennium, multiple children's books, his memoir Second Banana, the bittersweet memoirs of the Sanford and Son years. In his memoir, Wilson openly reflected on race, fame, industry politics, and the burden of being one of the first black leads in mainstream American television. He believed that Sanford and Son helped open doors for generations of black performers. Personal life. Grady Wilson married model Cicely Johnston on the 3rd of May, 1974. Together, they had 6 children. Despite his Hollywood success, Wilson lived a deeply spiritual and disciplined life, often describing himself as a servant first and an actor second. He remained close with fellow Christian entertainers and frequently appeared on faith-based television programs, including Praise the Lord on the Trinity Broadcasting Network. Cause of death. The confirmed cause of death for Grady Demond Wilson is complications related to cancer. He passed away peacefully at his home in Palm Springs, California, on January 30th, 2026, surrounded by loved ones. There have been no reports of foul play or sudden medical emergencies. His death followed a private battle with illness. Net worth. At the time of his death, Grady Wilson's estimated net worth was between $1 million and $3 million. His wealth came from decades of television work, film roles, book sales, public speaking engagements, and residual income from syndication. However, Wilson was never driven by luxury or excess, often emphasizing spiritual wealth over material success. Legacy and impact. Grady Wilson will forever be remembered as Lamont Sanford, the calm, thoughtful son who grounded one of the wildest characters in sitcom history. But his true legacy extends beyond comedy. He was a Broadway child prodigy, a Vietnam War veteran, a television pioneer, a Christian author, a lifelong minister, a voice of moral conviction in an ever-changing industry. He represented a generation of black actors who helped reshape American television and prove that complex, intelligent black characters deserved leading roles. Emotional tribute ending. Grady Wilson lived many lives in one lifetime, from dancing at the Apollo as a child, to surviving war, to making millions laugh, to preaching faith and truth. His journey was one of survival, purpose, and transformation. He was more than Lamont Sanford. He was a survivor, a soldier, a servant of God, and a man who left this world better than he found it. Rest in peace, Grady Demond Wilson. Your laughter remains, your faith endures, and your legacy lives forever. Top facts about Grady Demond Wilson. Born on the 13th of October, 1946, made Broadway debut at 4 years old. Danced at Harlem's Apollo Theater at 12. Served in the Vietnam War and was wounded. Starred as Lamont Sanford on Sanford and Son. Carried the show when Red Fox left. Ordained minister in 1984. Author of religious books and memoir. Had 6 children. Died from cancer complications at 79